Conference, I'm very fond of old Scots words and phrases, as you know, but there's one old Scots term that doesn't make me swell with pride because it's forever associated with the poll tax, and that's the word pinding. A pinding was carried out by sheriff officers in advance of a warrant sale when a poor family of debtors would see their house invaded and their few precious possessions, an old telly or a worn three-piece suite, would be valued for sale. We often hear the anti-independence parties saying that the Constitution doesn't affect the lives of real people. It's incredible that they're still saying that 25 years after the poll tax, which had a very, very real effect on the most vulnerable people in our society, just like the bedroom tax is having today. Both these issues are fundamentally constitutional issues. The poll tax was imposed by a Tory government we did not elect, just as the bedroom tax is being imposed by a Tory government we did not elect today. I was there 25 years ago, and I was proud to be there fighting the poll tax. I was proud that no warrant sales took place because of the opposition to the tax right across the community. It was levied at the same rate on a millionaire in his castle and a cleaner in our council house. It was imposed in Scotland a year earlier than in England, but the thing that really struck in the craw of the nation was the fact that it wasn't abandoned until protests in the Tory heartland. So the mass opposition in Scotland was completely ignored, but when Thatcher's government was threatened, it was abandoned. 25 years on, we're seeing history repeating itself. But it's not the only historic link. One of the architects of the poll tax, along with Lord Rothschild, who stood to benefit personally because he's got quite a few castles, was a young policy advisor in Downing Street called Andrew Dunlop. Now, you would think that coming up with such a disastrous idea would be something of a career killer, and it certainly finished off Margaret Thatcher politically. But who did David Cameron appoint as his Scotland advisor 2 years ago to fight independence? Why, none other than Andrew Dunlop. Older, but none the wiser. Mr. Dunlop, like Mr. Cameron, has a track record that suggests they understand Scotland as much as a fish understands a bicycle. But maybe complete ignorance is just what Better Together needs. Ignorance breeds contempt after all. And sure enough, it seems that Mr. Dunlop and his new close friend, Alistair Darling, are, we are told, the co-creators of another duff idea, the Great Currency Bluff. Press reports have suggested that George Osborne's rejection of a currency zone was taken on the specific advice of Alistair Darling and Andrew Dunlop. Only people with complete contempt for Scotland would come up with a poll tax, and so are we surprised that the same people came up with a contemptuous suggestion that our currency doesn't belong to us. Only people with contempt for Scotland would try to suggest that we would be dictated to and bullied by Westminster over currency, just as we are dictated to and bullied over the poll tax. No, Conference, it's not going to happen again, because we've learned another lesson from the anti-poll tax days. We defeated the tax street by street, community by community, and anti-poll tax unions. And now we are building yes groups, street by street, community by community. Delegates, like many of you here, I was there 25 years ago during the fight against the poll tax, and I see the same excitement, the same solidarity, the same creativity in the independence movement as I did in the anti-poll tax movement. And just as we defeated the poll tax, just as we defeated Thatcher, we will defeat Thatcher's children, and we will win on September the 18th. I'm happy to move the motion in my name.